topic, gentlemen, which is excuse me, which has to do with Nigeria again. Of course, our focus has been and will always remain on Nigeria because honestly, this Nigeria needs to change. We need it. We crave Nigeria to change. We yearn for Nigeria to change. Honestly, we can't wait for that time, and we hope. And that brings us to the next topic that we are going to be treating now. Do we think, excuse me, do we think that Nigeria will ever come to that Uhuru time? Can we can Nigeria ever come to a point where we would have a kind of a sigh, we breathe a sigh of relief? Can we ever come to a point in Nigeria where we say, oh, okay, today is better than yesterday? Because what we've been having over the years since the inception of this entity called Nigeria, all we've always said is, oh, this one is worse than the previous. It has always been worse than the previous. The current has always been worse than the previous. So can we ever come to a time where we say today is actually better than yesterday? Let's start with Barrister Austin Manta. What do you think about that? Now, before you go into that, remember Kenya. Kenya, what is happening right now in Kenya? We know last week Kenyans went to the National Assembly to invade through protest, invade National Assembly, and unfortunately about 20 people were killed by the security operatives. But what happened is people were killed, but at least it was a success. It was a success in the sense that the purpose of that protest actually was achieved. Because the president of what's that his name? Ruto. Is it Ruto? Yes. Ruto has actually withdrawn that tax. I think it was a tax. They increased tax. We wanted to increase the tax, and the bill was sent to the National Assembly to be passed into law. And so that was what actually instigated or gave birth to that protest. And the protest eventually, though people died, like as I've always said, nothing good comes easy. If there is no pain, there will not be gain. Change in a system requires sacrifice. So it's not surprising that people died. Unfortunately, I sympathize and I empathize with people, the families of those people that were killed. But that is what happens with change. That's what goes with change. So people will eventually die. But what matters is, okay, people's lives, people that were killed were not killed for nothing. At least they achieved their purpose. And that's exactly what and if you people notice that the protest is still going on. I think earlier this week, they came out to say that the protest is not they are not done with all the taxes. Now they want what they are after now is the president to resign. For the president to resign, because they feel the president has become a stooge to IMF, a stooge to the Western world, where they don't care anymore. They don't care about whether it affects the citizens, whether their policies affect the citizens of Kenya or not. All they want is what suits them. And so the citizens now believe that Ruto has become a stooge to them. Therefore, he has to go. So the protest is still on, and let's watch and see how it goes. Bringing it back to Nigeria, applying it to Nigeria. I hope and I pray that we come to this point, because Nigerians, honestly, we are extremely tolerant people. We are tolerant to a fault. Our tolerance has gotten to a point where, and it has been so for a very, very long time, where even though it affects, so our tolerance has been extremely detrimental to us, to our own personal interest and well-being. Yet we keep tolerating it. We keep tolerating it. people, our leaders, present, past leaders, leaders over the years kept stabbing us. This one comes, stabs us in the back. We endure the pain. The other one, the next one comes, stabs us in the back. We kept enduring this pain, and we keep enduring this pain. At what point, Barrister, at what point can we say enough is enough? Just like Kenya, the Kenyan citizens are taking their destinies into their hands as we speak. So can Nigeria, back to the question, can we ever get it right? Barrister.
Well, it's going to be difficult to reverse years and years and years of a mental mindset that was imposed on us, one by colonialism and continuing now by neocolonialism. If you want to dominate a people, you try to uproot them from their culture. This is what colonialism did to us. Now we have been reduced to a system where we produce and supply raw materials, and we get the finished product, diverse finished products in return. The world economic system is skewed against us by the powerful economies of the world. They force us to liberalize our economies, import everything, including brooms, that we can do here. So over the centuries, our mindset, we have been conditioned to favor foreign products over our own products, even to the basis of food that we eat and produce locally. We now favor the foreign foods. So the mindset has been created over a very long time. But that is not to say it cannot be changed. But it's going to be very difficult. It can only be done through a revolutionary process. Because we have to, and the people have to understand that for us to get up of this quagmire, this hole that we have been pushed into, we have to assert ourselves and go back to our roots. What stops us from taking, instead of tea and all these things, taking our akamu, taking our okpa, taking our traditional things that we can prepare with our ingredients produced here, instead of things that we produce, breakfast that we produce with ingredients produced from abroad. We are reduced to producing raw materials, whether it is crude oil, whether it's cocoa, whether it is other products. And these products are refined and into 20, 50 products and sent back to us at exorbitant prices until we begin to use what we can, produce and use what we can. We will not get it right. And I always give an example. Other countries have faced the same situation, but they understood that trying to follow foreign tastes is going to ruin us, is going to ruin the economy and the country and keep them perpetually behind. And I always give the example of China. China came to the point where they realized that, look, these people are pushing us down, and if we do not do something, we are going to be permanently down. So they closed their country. They banned all the importation of foreign goods. If we are going to suffer with food, let's feed with what we can produce, because we were feeding with what we produce. We produce food. If we can eat it in that form, let's eat it in that form. But from there, we can begin to extrapolate. They did that. And then they set about producing from the variety of domestic and local produce that they have to a point where they are reasonably confident they can now export their own products. They became competitive. And today, in terms of manufacturing, they are the largest economy in the world. It's only recently that China started opening their economy to the world. Why are we in Nigeria obsessed with foreign goods, with foreign products, even when we have alternatives locally produced in Nigeria? Now, even assuming the quality of what we produce here is not much, how do you assure the quality is improved if there's no investment in the local production? We have companies that are producing vehicles in Nigeria, and others. But the patronage is low because we are buying thousands and thousands of Toyota vehicles.
We'll actually be treating that. What you are saying now, sorry to cut you short, we'll actually be treating that topic extensively on Saturday on the next show. It's actually one of our topics, sort of. So, but
let me
continue.
Just round up and say that if we want to get out of our present situation, we should emulate what China did. Let's stop importation of food. Let's stop importation of so many foreign things that we don't.
Okay. Sorry. I understand that. Now, can we go back to the? Sorry, I didn't actually throw the question in a very, very specific way. Now, the question is, how do we de-entangle ourselves from the West? Can we do that? Now, if we can do that, how?
We can do that. We can do that. But first, we have to get our acts here together. A situation where we don't have unity of purpose. We don't have unity as a nation. We open ourselves up to manipulation of foreign powers. So if we want to do something, disentangle ourselves from these people, we have to achieve national unity. We have to achieve political unity. Only then can we speak with one voice against the manipulation of foreign forces. Where we are divided and disparate, it's going to be difficult because as we are making the issues there, these powerful countries are already among us, trying to further divide us.
Yeah, don't you think, sorry, Michelle, I'll also bring you in. Don't you think that now, just like what is happening in Kenya now, because Kenya is an African, I'm just bringing it up because he's a fellow African country as well. And we all know African leaders, where they all have the same traits and tendencies. But the truth is, what the Kenyan citizens are doing and the pressure that the president is having, now the citizens are actually mounting serious pressure on the president. To the extent that even the president right now, sorry to call, hold on, please. To the extent that even the president right now has the increase. Initially, he wanted to increase the salaries of the ministers and legislators. Now, he has withdrawn that increase. That is a president, at least, that is sensitive to pressure. My point now is, why can't you? Because what you have said, those are solutions, those are part of the solutions. But my own question is, don't you think that the real solution, the real and the fastest way to really, because those solutions you are profiling, trust me, our leaders will never get into that, because they have their puppet masters who dictate to them what they want them to do. So they are under pressure from people above to pursue certain policies. So don't you think until they begin to feel the pressure from us as citizens, of just like what the Kenyans have realized and have chosen to do right now, which is actually working out, because the presidency he seems to be caving into their pressure. So don't we think the onus still lies on us as citizens to begin to mount that same pressure that will withstand, that will probably overwhelm that of the pressure that our leaders are getting from the IMF and the West to be able to achieve what we need.
You keep mentioning Kenya.
Yes.
The situation in Kenya is not the same with Nigeria. If you go back to Kenyan history, they fought wars against the British. A lot of people died. A lot of people were imprisoned. A lot of people were maimed. That movement the Mau Mau movement that fought for Kenya independence. Even the present people, the grandchildren, the children and the grandchildren, is still a topic in Kenya till tomorrow. They had a fighting force and literally got this independence by force. We got our independence without fighting. They gave us by what we call platter of gold. So apparently, a lot of people here do not even appreciate the independence that we have. But where they fought, like South Africa, like Kenya, like Mozambique, like Angola, where they fought, like Namibia, where they, like Kenya, that people fought and died to get that power. The process to protest, the protest to come out to hold the government to accountable is far, far easier because there's already a foundation for that.
Yeah,
in
but
Nigeria, it is much more difficult to come
yeah,
out in unison to pressure the government to do that.
okay. Now, don't you think that? Yeah, I understand where you are coming from. The history of or whatever, they already have this hot blood in their system, boiling blood in their system, so they can go for it at any time. But the truth is, don't you think that our situation is even more precarious than theirs right now? The poverty rate in Nigeria is so much. They say a hungry man is an angry man. Don't you think that we are faced with a very, very bad situation that that ought to have led us, if even overdue to have led us into desperation to actually take our destinies in our hands? I think I'll go to Shegun now. Shegun, can you please come into the discourse now? What is your thoughts? Can you answer these questions for us?
Well, what Barrister said is quite clear and decent as it is. You see, we sat down some few months ago and we're discussing what kind of rulership, what kind of leadership did we have before the advent of the colonialists. It is quite unfortunate and sad that we have thrown away those lines and the kind of leadership that we had that put us together before the Oyinbos came and decided to force democracy on us. If you ask people of old from the stories that we heard, there was law and orderliness. There were rules, and people respected and followed these rules, including how they worshipped. Now, because we like Barrister said, because we got our independence, whatever it is that it is called, because I don't understand what independence means anyway, because we were already living before the colonialists came. We had a way of life, and it was orderly. We followed laws. We had a culture that was functioning. We had the people. We had a system that was working before they came. So whatever it is that they call independence could be, probably they felt they have trained us, because according to them we are barbarians, and now we have been taught the ways of human beings. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see anything other than just somebody just probably giving you a flag and giving you a date, and then saying that you are now free to be human beings, which, as a matter of fact, to me is an insult. But then, let us come back to what we are discussing here. Look, it's going to be very difficult for us to fight and break away from these masters, as they're called. But of course, we can see Burkina Faso here, very close to us, Mali, very close to us, though unfortunately, through the military, are beginning to break away from the people who colonized them. They're breaking away from them. And this tells you that, look, if we are united as a people, if we agree as a people that we are self-sufficient enough, we can produce our food and feed ourselves. We can produce leaders amongst ourselves to lead us. We can have a system that is functional, that can be emulated. it's going to be very easy for us to move ahead. But you see, unfortunately, this over-dependence on these foreign countries is one of the reasons why we're in this mess. Okay, take a look at it. Some of the people who jackpot from Nigeria, who leave Nigeria to look for greener pastures abroad, let's say, for example, doctors. Some of our leaders still go to these doctors in foreign lands to they trust them more to go there and treat themselves. But if you relocate the same doctor back to Nigeria here and bring them to any of our hospitals, the politicians will tell you, the leaders will tell you, oh, I don't trust this person that is capable. So what is wrong in making our own hospitals functional? I remember way back some 30 years ago, there used to be a man who comes to my dad way back in Kaduna, and he would say, I'm coming to ABU Teaching Hospital for treatment. And he's a foreigner. He comes from abroad to take treatment here in Nigeria. But unfortunately, 30 years after, nobody trusts anybody in Nigeria except, of course, you're a poor man like me who would go to any hospital to take treatment. They now export all of this. They take it abroad. Now, so Nigeria, of course, because you're going to make more money when you're abroad, you travel abroad and become a professional there. And they now take their concerns from here and take it abroad. What is it in Nigeria, Mr. Jibrin, that you need that we can't find? Nigeria is so blessed that if you sit down and you start to itemize, but step by step, one by one, mineral resources that this world powers use to control the world, Nigeria is blessed with it. All of the seasons that you need, Nigeria has got all of the seasons. The arable land that you need for agriculture, which at a particular point in Nigeria was our only source of revenue. We have the arable lands. Those lands, unfortunately, are occupied by terrorists these days. Yeah, our farmers you need to ask how much they sell a basket of tomato. Now, the government is not concerned about pushing the terrorists out. They're not concerned about driving away the bandits. They're not concerned about going back to agriculture. Even the oil that we boast as our mainstay to today, they keep telling. I just saw a news excerpt yesterday night. I read through it today. I've not gone through it completely. Where the NNPC keeps shifting the goalpost when they will start production. Yeah. They have shifted the post again to January 2025. That they will start production by look, the truth about the whole matter is our refineries are gone. But what is wrong in bringing in modular refineries? When I worked with the amnesty in 2010 to 2012, I saw some of these modular refineries, and I was saying to some of the people who were coordinating this exercise, a bulk of them were military men, and I said, look, instead of destroying these modular refineries, why don't you bring these people in and ensure that whatever it is that they use to refine these petroleum products are done properly so that the government can document some of these things and make revenue from them instead of depending on gigantic equipment that you can't maintain. I just said that in 2010, 2011. And as I'm talking to you now, go to Kaduna Refinery and see what we have there. All we have is just structures and human beings milling around doing nothing. They can't even refine 1 cup of crude oil anymore. So look, everything that every human being needs to survive is right there with that human being, starting from your mind. But if you don't believe in yourself, it is going to be very difficult for you to stand up and make even yourself and make yourself properly function. And that is what is wrong with the country Nigeria. Aside from the people at the bottom who don't have powers, the leadership itself is wrong. Our dependence on loans has made us unproductive. Nobody is thinking anymore about going back to the farms and, of course, producing some of those things that we can use locally and, of course, export. Everybody now is thinking about what they're going to bring from outside and bring inside and make money from the people. And you start to wonder what it is that is wrong with us. All of a sudden, even toothpick. The other day, a minister here was saying on TV that even toothpick is imported. We don't produce anything anymore. Dunlop and other factories in Nigeria, a couple of them this year said they're leaving Nigeria. A couple of them said they're leaving Nigeria. And nobody seems to be concerned.
What are you talking about? What do you mean by a couple? So many of them. Anyway, that's part of the topic we'll be discussing now. So many, more than a couple,
so,
more than a topic, a couple.
More than a couple are living, and nobody's. When you talk to the leadership, they tell you, oh, let them leave. After all, they are the ones who are messing up Nigeria. Do we have replacements for some of these companies that are leaving Nigeria? Do we have a plan for Nigeria as it were? Ask anybody in leadership to show you a plan that they have for the next 10 years, 20 years for their local government area, not even the state, for their local government area. Some of them will just talk to you off heart. When they're campaigning for election, they will list they'll give a very long list of things that they will do. And we'll fix this, we'll fix that. Some of these things that they're talking about, they will tell you their privileges. They are right. They are right. It is my right to have social amenities. It is my right to security, to be safe. But somebody will not tell you, look, we're going to secure this and secure that. Those are not privileges, they are rights.
Yeah. But
what are you going to do to ensure that our state, as it were, would in itself be self-sufficient? So, okay, my state in Kogi State, for instance, Kogi State has a Jakarta Steel Company. The steel company has been there for a donkey of years, and they keep pumping money into making the steel company work. As I'm talking to you now, they will tell you, oh, we produce those sheets that they use to produce spoon. Which companies in Nigeria go to a Jakarta Steel Company to purchase what it is that they produce there, to produce anything to sell in Nigeria? Even if you go to Aba, where they make jeans and they make some of these shirts and suits, they would package them here. Nigerians don't even want to buy them. They'll tell you they are local. They're made in Aba suit. Why would you buy made in Aba suit? But those same suits, if you transport them back take them back to Dubai and fly them in, Nigerians will buy, unfortunately. So we don't even trust our own products until we begin to realize.
Even I think we have the similar situation with the shoes. There was a time some years ago that this made in Italy shoes were actually made in Aba. They will make it in Aba, export it to Italy, stamp it and do everything there, whatever, do some stuff. I don't know what they do, but and bring it back and label it made in Italy. Then bring it back, import it back to Nigeria.
Nigeria.
So that is the point. Anyway, Barrister, okay, are you done with your point, Shegun?
Yes. So as a parting shot, until Nigeria itself and the people sit down and draw a plan, it is going to be very difficult for us to stand up. We can only keep talking and hope that the kind of leadership that we want will come and say, look, let us draw a 100-year plan for Nigeria, not a plan that is for JIBRIN or for Segun Onibiyo. No, a plan that is for Nigeria, so that each and every leadership, whoever you may be, regardless of your religion, wherever you may come from, would come and key into. Until we have that kind of master plan, it's going to be very difficult for us to stand up as a nation and be self-sufficient.
Thank you so much for that. And before I get to Barrister, now you just pointed out, Shegun pointed out some stuff that I needed to actually talk about. This issue of, yes, I think these three countries have detangled themselves from the West. Now, there's no country that can actually survive without other countries outside their shores. But my problem is the West. Why I am specific about the West. Honestly, the Western world are the bane of the global menace right now. The West, they are so, other countries, just like Russia. Russia now, these people are, okay, Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, excuse me, they have detangled themselves from the West, from France to be precise, but they're part of the West. Now, who are they aligning with? They are aligning with Russia. So Russia, these are the three of them have common, and they had common enemies. Now they now have common friends. They detangled themselves from their common enemies, and now they have a common friend. And that common friend, and everybody know how Russia operates. Russia is a give me and take and give me kind of relationship. It's a two-way. If you are in a relationship with Russia as a country, it's always a two-way street with them. They are not like the West. The West want to eat everything. They want to eat their cake and have it. They want to take everything from you and not give you anything in return. When you are on the table with the West, decision table or dialogue or dialogue table or negotiation table, that's the right word. When you're on the negotiation table, the West wants to be, they are always demanding. They want to impose on you a very, an overwhelming ratio of the negotiation. They demand for, because they just believe that they have all the leverages against you. They are holding the whole whatever, all the carrots are in their hands. It's sort of, so you don't have an option. So they take everything and give you probably 10-20% of the whole thing and take 80% of it. So that's it. Russia is not like, Russia actually negotiates and gets a kind of give and take kind of relationship. Give me this and I'll give you that, trade by barter. So the West is not like that. Now, these three countries have detangled themselves from the West and they are doing things with Russia. Now, yeah, they are military. I don't care. And I prefer them. That is the truth. It's a military. The three of them, the common thing, they have common things. They have so many things in common. They had the same colonial masters. They were overthrown. The country is being ruled by the military or whatever. But what the bottom line is this: these three countries are doing better than they were under democratic rule. Niger has been rated now as one of the fastest growing economy. For God's sake, who could have ever thought of that? That is Niger. That is the current whatever. Burkina Faso, oh my God, before Burkina Faso, they are doing great. The current president, head of state or whatever, a military man, a very young boy, a very young man, he's extremely loved by his people because they are doing the right thing. Mali, I've not been following Mali that way, but the little knowledge I have about Mali too is doing better than they were. These three countries that have detangled themselves from the West, and their economy is doing better now than it was. So why can't we emulate? Look, I do not see any. No one should just come and give me one. It's just like Barrister said earlier that Kenya are doing the Kenyans are doing what they are doing because of their background, where they are coming from. Look, we are at this point in Nigeria. We have successive governments have stabbed us countless times. The pain, we should be done with the pain. Enough of this. This situation right now. Even though someone like Olibio seems not to, I understand your fears, I understand all that, but the truth is, at what point can we just say enough of this fear? Let's do the needful for our generations unborn. Let's do so. Something have to give way for something to work. That is just the point. So other countries are doing it. Smaller countries than Nigeria are doing. Why can't we do it? Because the truth is, let me be frank with you guys. That is my opinion, though. Honestly, the onus lies in the hands of the citizens. I am telling you, our leaders will never be able to get it right. They do not intend to do that. They do not plan to do that. They will never do that because it's all about them. It's about them. And because it's about them, they'll keep being the puppet to their masters. And if we as citizens do not take our destinies in our hands and actually begin to exert pressure on them, honestly, unfortunately, we will continue this way. Barrister, give us a parting on this topic. Give us a parting shot on that.
Yes, on this topic, just like I've said before, the citizens like Kenya appreciate the blood and sweat that they sacrifice to get the ability to govern themselves. So they are able to put considerable pressure on their government. The situation in Nigeria is slightly different, but we are being pushed to that place. I don't totally discount the fact that it will happen in Nigeria. We are being pushed to that level And the level, if the policies that we have been seeing successive government doing continue, we will reach that point sooner rather than later.
Thank you so much, Barrister. Yes, I think that brings us to the end of this topic. We shall be taking on to the last, going on to the last topic. But before then, we've been